On Thanksgiving night 2009, Tiger Woods crashed his SUV into a fire hydrant at 2 a.m. What investigators found next would erase everything the world thought it knew about him. Within 72 hours, the most marketable athlete on earth would lose 9 sponsorship deals worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Within 6 months, his marriage would be over. Within 2 years, he'd fall from #1 in the world to 58th. This is the story of how a man who controlled every variable in his life, every swing, every word, every public appearance, lost control of everything at once. How does the most dominant golfer in history, a man who rebuilt the entire sport in his image, become a cautionary tale about the cost of perfection? The answer begins long before that crash. It begins with a father, a child, and a plan to build a champion unlike anything the world had ever seen. Eldrick Taunt Woods was born December 30, 1975, in Cypress, California, to Earl Woods, a retired Army lieutenant colonel, and Kultida Punzawad, a Thai immigrant. Earl had been a Green Beret in Vietnam. He understood discipline, psychological warfare, and the breaking down of a human being to rebuild them stronger. Before Tiger could walk, Earl had him in a high chair in the garage, watching his father hit golf balls into a net. At 9 months old, Tiger had a sawed-off putter. At 2, he appeared on the Mike Douglas show hitting balls with Bob Hope. This wasn't a hobby. Earl told reporters his son would be more important than Nelson Mandela, more influential than Gandhi. He called Tiger the chosen one. The plan was total immersion. Earl would stand in Tiger's backline during practice swings and jangle change in his pocket, cough loudly, drop clubs behind him, anything to break his concentration. When Tiger flinched, Earl would make him start over. The goal was to build a mind that could not be shaken. By age 3, Tiger shot a 48 for 9 holes. By 8, he'd won the first of 6 straight Optimist International Junior World titles. His childhood was a series of carefully controlled victories. There were no sleepovers, no distractions, no normal friends. Golf was the center of gravity. Kultida reinforced the other half of the system: Buddhist discipline, emotional control, respect for authority. She taught him to meditate, to compartmentalize, to never show weakness. Tiger became fluent in 2 languages, dominance on the course, perfect composure off it. At 15, he became the youngest U.S. junior amateur champion in history. At 18, he enrolled at Stanford on a full golf scholarship. By 19, he'd won 3 consecutive U.S. amateur titles, a feat no one had accomplished since 1897. Earl watched every round. The plan was working. Tiger wasn't just good. He was inevitable. On August 29, 1996, Tiger Woods turned professional. He was 20 years old. Nike signed him to a 5-year, $40 million endorsement deal before he'd played a single pro tournament. Titleist gave him $20 million more. In his 5th professional start, he won the Las Vegas Invitational. 2 weeks later, he won the Walt Disney World Classic. The golf world had never seen anything like this. Tiger wasn't just talented, he was longer off the tee, more accurate with irons, and colder under pressure than anyone in the sport. He was also the first black golfer to dominate a game that had spent a century excluding people who looked like him. In April 1997, Tiger arrived at Augusta National for the Masters. The course had only admitted its first black member 5 years earlier. Tiger opened with a 70. Then he shot 6 under. Then 7 under. Then 9 under. He won by 12 strokes, the largest margin in Masters history. He was 21 years old. When he hugged his father behind the 18th green, Earl whispered, "We did it." The world watched a son and a father complete a mission that had started in a California garage 2 decades earlier. Tiger's victory speech was composed, gracious, humble. He thanked his parents, his sponsors, the fans. He did not smile too wide. He did not celebrate too hard. Everything was controlled. The endorsement deals poured in. American Express, Rolex, Wheaties, General Motors. Tiger became the first athlete to earn over $100 million in endorsements in a single year. He wasn't just selling golf, he was selling discipline, excellence, transcendence. Brands wanted the Tiger Woods story: immigrant mother, military father, child prodigy who worked harder than everyone else and never broke. By 2000, Tiger had won 6 majors. In 2001, he held all 4 major championships at once, the Tiger Slam. He appeared on every magazine cover, every talk show, every commercial break. He married Ellen Nordegren, a Swedish former model, in October 2004 in Barbados. The wedding was private, controlled, perfect. They had 2 children. Tiger's public image was airtight: devoted husband, dedicated father, relentless competitor. He did not drink in public. He did not curse on camera. He gave measured, polite interviews and said nothing controversial. The facade was seamless. Behind the facade, Tiger Woods was living 2 lives. In 2006, Earl Woods died of a heart attack. Tiger delivered the eulogy with perfect composure, thanked his father for everything, and returned to competition 2 months later. He won 6 tournaments that year. No one saw him grieve. No one saw him break. The system Earl built, total emotional control, compartmentalization, performance above all else, remained in place even after its architect was gone. But the pressure was compounding. Tiger had spent his entire life being watched. Every meal, every practice session, every public appearance was planned, managed, controlled. He could not go to a restaurant without cameras. He could not miss a putt without analysts dissecting his swing for hours. The image of Tiger Woods, the polite, disciplined, perfect champion, had become a cage. And inside that cage, he was suffocating. Starting in 2007, Tiger began a pattern of behavior that would remain hidden for 2 years. He met women in hotel rooms during tour stops. He used fake names. He deleted text messages. He maintained a secret phone. Some encounters were one-night affairs. Others stretched across months. All of them were carefully concealed. At home, Ellen knew something was wrong. Tiger was distant, distracted, irritable. He spent hours on his phone in locked rooms. He traveled more than his schedule required. When she asked questions, he dismissed them. The man the world saw, the calm, present, devoted husband, was a performance. The real Tiger was elsewhere, caught between the crushing weight of his public image and a private life that contradicted everything he was supposed to represent. In 2008, Tiger won the US Open at Torrey Pines while playing on a torn ACL and a fractured tibia. He limped through 72 holes, sank a 12-foot putt to force a playoff, and won the next day. It was called the greatest performance in golf history. He did not play again for 8 months. The injuries gave him an excuse to step back, but the double life continued. By Thanksgiving 2009, Tiger had been involved with more than a dozen women. He had told none of them about the others. He had told his wife nothing. The lies had compounded into a structure so complex that a single crack would bring everything down. That crack came at 2 a.m. on November 27, 2009, when Tiger Woods crashed his Cadillac Escalade into a fire hydrant outside his Florida mansion. The crash made no sense. It was a clear night. Tiger was driving 20 miles per hour. The hydrant was 50 feet from his driveway. When police arrived, Ellen was standing over him with a golf club. Tiger was semi-conscious, bleeding from the mouth. The back windows of the SUV were shattered from the inside. Ellen told officers she'd used the club to break him out. The police took a report and left. The official story was that Tiger had lost control of the vehicle. But within hours, the National Enquirer published a story claiming Tiger had been having an affair with a New York nightclub hostess named Rachel Uckettle. Uckettle denied it. Tiger's representatives denied it. But the story didn't stop. 2 days later, Us Weekly published text messages between Tiger and a cocktail waitress named Jamie Grubbs. The messages were explicit. Grubbs had saved everything. Tiger's voicemails. Photographs. A detailed timeline spanning 2 years. Within 48 hours, 3 more women came forward. Then 5. Then 9. Each one had similar stories: hotel rooms, burner phones, promises that he was leaving his wife. Tiger's carefully controlled image shattered in real time. On December 2, 2009, Tiger released a statement on his website. "I have let my family down, and I regret those transgressions with all of my heart." He did not specify what the transgressions were. He announced he was taking an indefinite break from golf. The next day, Accenture dropped him as a sponsor. Then AT&T. Then Gatorade. Then Gillette. Then Tag Heuer. 9 endorsement deals evaporated in 6 days. Forbes estimated Tiger lost between $22 and $30 million immediately, with long-term losses exceeding $100 million. Ellen filed for divorce. In February 2010, Tiger appeared at a press conference in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. He stood at a podium in front of a small audience of friends, colleagues, and reporters. His mother sat in the front row. He read from a prepared statement. "I thought I could get away with whatever I wanted to. I felt that I had worked hard my entire life and deserved to enjoy all the temptations around me. I felt I was entitled. Thanks to money and fame, I didn't have to go far to find them. I was wrong. I was foolish." His voice cracked once. He apologized to his wife, his children, his mother, his sponsors, his fans. He announced he was entering therapy for 45 days. The speech lasted 13 minutes. Ellen did not attend. The divorce was finalized in August 2010. Ellen received over $100 million in the settlement. Tiger returned to golf in April 2010 at the Masters. He finished 4th. It was his best result in months, but something had changed. The aura was gone. The inevitability was gone. He was no longer the chosen one. He was just another golfer trying to win. For the next 4 years, Tiger Woods disappeared from the top of the sport he dominated for over a decade. In 2010, he won 0 PGA Tour events for the first time since turning professional. In 2011, he fell out of the top 10 in the world rankings. By 2012, injuries started piling up: knee problems, back spasms, nerve damage. He withdrew from tournaments mid-round. He missed cuts. Analysts who'd spent years praising his mental toughness now questioned whether he still had the fire. The world watched a man who had once seemed superhuman become ordinary. Tiger's swing, which had been rebuilt multiple times under different coaches, started breaking down under pressure. He'd changed coaches 4 times since 1996, always chasing perfection, always trying to optimize. Now the constant adjustments were catching up to him. His back, which had absorbed decades of violent rotation, was deteriorating. In 2014, Tiger underwent his first back surgery. He returned after 3 months and missed the cut at 3 straight majors. In 2015, he had 2 more back surgeries. He played only 11 events. In 2016, he played 1. In May 2017, police found Tiger asleep in his Mercedes on the side of a Florida road at 3 a.m. The engine was running. The car was stopped in the right lane. Officers woke him. Tiger was disoriented, slurring his words, unable to walk a straight line. He told them he'd taken prescription painkillers and did not know where he was. He was arrested for DUI. The mugshot showed a man unrecognizable from the athlete the world had known, eyes unfocused, face swollen, hair disheveled. He pleaded guilty, entered a diversion program, and released a statement apologizing to his family and fans. This was not the controlled, composed Tiger of the press conferences. This was a man who had lost the ability to manage even the basics of his own life. By the end of 2017, Tiger Woods had fallen to 1,131st in the world rankings. 14 years after holding all 4 major championships at once, he was ranked below club professionals and college players. Commentators wrote retrospectives about his career in the past tense. Many assumed he would never compete at a high level again. But in 2018, something shifted. Tiger underwent spinal fusion surgery, his 4th and most invasive back operation. For the first time in years, the pain diminished. He could swing again. He could sleep without medication. He could walk 18 holes without limping. In March 2018, he returned to competitive golf at the Valspar Championship and finished second. In September, he won the Tour Championship, his first victory in 5 years. The galleries exploded. Fans sprinted after him as he walked to the 18th green. Commentators called it one of the greatest comebacks in sports history. Tiger cried when he hugged his children behind the final hole. It was the first time many people had seen him break character in public. The old Tiger, the one who never smiled too wide, never showed weakness, was gone. What remained was something more human. On April 14, 2019, Tiger Woods stood on the 18th green at Augusta National wearing a red Nike polo and black pants. He just sunk a 2-foot putt to win the Masters, his 5th green jacket, his 15th major championship, his first major victory in 11 years. His children ran onto the green and wrapped their arms around him. His mother watched from the gallery. Tiger buried his face in his hands and wept. This wasn't the Tiger who'd won in 1997. That Tiger had been a weapon, precise, emotionless, built for domination. This Tiger had survived public humiliation, physical collapse, addiction, arrest, and irrelevance. This Tiger had lived long enough to see himself become both the hero and the cautionary tale. The win at Augusta didn't erase the past decade. It didn't restore the endorsements he'd lost. It didn't repair the relationships he'd destroyed. But it proved something the world thought was impossible, that a man could fall as far as Tiger fell and still fight his way back to the top. For 6 months, it looked like the story might have a redemptive ending. Then, in February 2021, Tiger crashed his SUV in Los Angeles while driving 75 miles per hour in a 45 mile per hour zone. The vehicle flipped multiple times. His right leg was shattered, open fractures in the tibia and fibula, crushed ankle bones, extensive muscle and nerve damage. Surgeons inserted a rod and screws to stabilize the bones. For months, it was unclear whether Tiger would walk again, let alone play competitive golf. He spent a year in rehabilitation. In April 2022, he returned to Augusta for the Masters and completed 72 holes, limping visibly on every step. He missed the cut, but the fact that he finished at all was extraordinary. Tiger Woods, at 46 years old, was no longer chasing greatness. He was chasing survival. The man who had been raised to be a champion was now fighting just to stay on the course. Today, Tiger plays a limited schedule. His body can no longer handle the demands of a full tour. He has won 82 PGA Tour events, tied for the most in history. He has won 15 major championships, second only to Jack Nicklaus. He has earned over $1.7 billion in career earnings and endorsements. But he is no longer the face of golf. Younger players have taken his place. His dominance is a memory. His legacy is complicated. Some remember the championships, the records, the 1997 Masters, the 2019 comeback. Others remember the crash, the affairs, the mugshot, the lies. Both versions are true. The lesson of Tiger Woods is not about redemption. It's not about comebacks. It's about the cost of perfection. Tiger spent his entire life building an image that could not be sustained. The pressure to maintain that image, the perfect husband, the perfect champion, the chosen one, compounded until the facade collapsed. And when it did, the fall was more public, more brutal, and more permanent than the original lie. You cannot control everything. You cannot compartmentalize forever. The cracks always show. Tiger Woods changed golf. Before him, the sport was a country club game played by white men in pastel sweaters. After him, it was a global athletic spectacle. He brought power, precision, and psychological dominance to a game that had never seen anything like it. He made the PGA Tour must-watch television. He inspired an entire generation of athletes, black, Asian, working-class kids who saw someone who looked like them dominate a sport that had excluded them. His influence is undeniable. But his story is also a warning. Tiger was built to be perfect. His father engineered him that way. Every hour of his childhood was controlled, every emotion managed, every public appearance rehearsed. The goal was to create a champion who could not be broken. But the cost of that perfection was a human being who did not know how to exist outside the role he'd been given. When the facade cracked, it didn't crack quietly. It exploded in front of the entire world. The same discipline that made him unstoppable on the course made him incapable of confronting the truth about his own life. He compartmentalized his failures until they became unmanageable. He lied to protect an image that was already unsustainable. The pressure to maintain a false image compounds over time, and collapse is always more public than the original lie. Tiger's fall wasn't caused by a single bad decision. It was caused by decades of small compromises, hidden truths, and unspoken pain. He spent his life performing the role of the perfect champion, and when that performance finally failed, he had no idea who he was underneath. The world wanted Tiger Woods to be a symbol. He wanted to be a person. The two were never compatible. Today, Tiger plays occasional tournaments. He limps up fairways. He signs autographs for children who were born after his scandals. He is no longer the best golfer in the world. He is no longer the most marketable athlete on earth. He is a man who won everything, lost everything, and learned that the only thing more dangerous than failure is the illusion of perfection. His story is not a morality tale. It's not a redemption arc. It's a reminder that even the strongest systems break under enough pressure. And when they do, the person inside that system has to figure out how to live without it. That's the legacy of Tiger Woods. Not the majors. Not the records. The reminder that no one, not even the chosen one, can outrun the truth forever.